Chase Burns is going to enter the show on Tuesday for the Reds. So let's dive into that right from the jump here. What do you know? Were you surprised about the timing? And how much of an impact can this make in the rotation?
Honestly, wasn't that surprised. This is a team organization last year when Rhett Lauder had a chance to come up and they needed him. He came up. They needed somebody, and they've proven that they're not scared of doing that. And so it's exactly what they told Chase Burns last year when they drafted him and said, "Hey, we don't want you to throw the rest of this year." And he wasn't really excited about it. And he wanted to pitch, but once Lauder came up and they were good to their word, it eased his worries, and so then all he did was just go out and dominate. I mean, what is it, 83 strikeouts or 89 strikeouts to 13 walks, and like even if you dig deeper in that, of those 13 walks, four were in his first AAA start, and then the first six were in his first four starts. So he had three in all the other starts, which is when you're hitting 100 and striking out that many batters, that's pretty impressive.
Hey Trent, I want to ask a question that last time I was on the show, AJ asked. When you have a guy, shooting through the minor leagues like Burns with that type of arm, and you have a guy like Caglione with the ability to hit 40 homers at the big league level. When you see an arm fly through the organization like this, and you see a bat fly through the organization like this, I want to get your take. I'm going to take AJ's question here that he's asked in the past. Who do you go with in the draft? Do you go with that big bat or do you go with that possible arm when we know that sometimes an arm is an injury away or who knows what away from not being who we thought they were going to be?
Yeah, it's tough. You always kind of think about that, and the Reds kind of just go with who they liked the most, and they really liked Cags. They really liked Nick Kurtz, the first baseman at Wake Forest, but they just felt like Chase Burns was someone they couldn't pass up. And if you remember last year, everybody's talking about Bazana or Charlie Condon going 1-2, and which one's going to go one, and then the other would go two. And the Reds kind of went off board and went with Burns, and it kind of took some heat. Like people criticized that pick at the time, and they just said, "Hey, we really like this guy." I was talking to the signing scout today, and he said, "I put a 70 on his fastball, a 70 on the slider, but I put an 80 on his competitiveness, and that is what really tipped the scales in his favor."
Burns throws 100. Burns has a nasty slider. We all know this. But could they give him an easier landing spot than the Yankees? Like, they got to go Yankees
Yeah.
off the bat? Like, they couldn't have given him Rockies or something, White Sox or, someone like that? They went Yankees.
Well, I mean, the injuries don't always happen, and holes in your rotation don't always happen when you want them. But honestly, from what I've talked to Chase and the people I've talked around with him, I think if you gave him his druthers, he would pick the Yankees or the Dodgers. Um, you know, Face Shohei or Judge right away. First inning in the big leagues. He's going to face Aaron Judge. How we doing? You get an idea where you stand real quick when that guy's at the plate.
Yeah. I,
Hey,
I want to ask. You talk about the elite fastball, you talk about the elite slider, and I know he's dominant. I know he competes, and it's a different level. How much of that is stuff that we're looking at? And I know college is different as well because we saw him overpower a lot of hitters. But how much of that is a guy who actually is coming here and he's going to be able to rely on some command as well? Because as we know, a lot of guys come up here with stuff. But what eludes them is that ability to command the strike zone. And up here, stuff still gets hit. Where is he as far as the organization believes, as far as a command standpoint goes?
They're just over the moon. I mean, they wanted him to fail somewhere along the way. And even if you look at Rhett Lauder, like Rhett Lauder, when he went up to Double A last year, he struggled for his first three or four starts, and then kind of got it together. Touched, I think he had one start in Triple A, and then he made six starts in the big league and put up a 1.16 ERA or something like that. And so, like, I think they were really hoping that someone would hit them somewhere along the way, just to be like, hey, this isn't all that easy. But all the places they had to play them and pitch them, nobody could touch them. So, yeah, it's pretty crazy.
It's weird though, Trent, that the Reds, unlike the Cubs who were in their division when they brought up their young stud Horton, they used an opener because they didn't want him to have to face the top of the Mets lineup the first time. Because Lindor, Soto, and Alonso, they only come up once a game. So if you don't face them that first time, you're never going to have to face them. I love that Tito Francona is a little more old school. It's like, hey, Chase Burns, guess what? You throw 100 with a nasty slider, go get the Yankees in the first inning. Let's see what you got. But that to me, that is awesome of
Yeah,
Tito.
what are you
also
telling?
tell the kid, I believe in you.
Right. And that is Tito's superpower, is that he lets everybody think that he believes in them 100%. He connects with everybody, and I think they think this kid is so special that this is where he wants to be and where he should be and where he can compete. Like he may not. Maybe he gets hit around today, but I don't think or tomorrow. But I don't think that's going to deter him or change anything. It'll just be that learning, and hey, this is the big leagues. You gotta face those guys sometimes. You might as well see where you are, and like I said, that first inning, you're going to see where you are.
People liked this last time, so we're going to do it again. Read one of the fantastic, unique, creative dishes on HelloFresh. Creamy Alfredo truffle cavatappi pasta?
Cavatappi, maybe? But I'll just go with the Indian-inspired chicken paired with turmeric rice. That sounds awesome. Everything about this is delicious, fresh, comes in a little bag, and I like to cook, so I like to chop up the ingredients. I like to throw stuff in the pan, mix it up. It makes me feel like I'm doing something, Scott, and they always come out amazing.
Yes, you can be a star at home with America's #1 meal kit. Make your summer enjoyable and delicious by signing up for HelloFresh at HelloFresh.com/FT10FM and get 10 free meals with a free item for life. That's HelloFresh.com/FT10FM for 10 free meals and a free item in every box. 1 per box with an active subscription. Free meals are applied as a discount on the first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan.
Trent, is Abbott the best pitcher in the National League besides Paul Skeens, maybe? I mean, Andrew Abbott's having a great year. He's got to go to the All-Star game.
Oh.
He's got to go to the All-Star game,
You would hope
right?
so. You would really hope so because, well, I'm already working on that story. But yeah, like the guy is, he's a throwback from the mustache to the body. Like you could just put a dart in his hand and it would look like he was part of the rotation with Tom Browning and Mario Soto. But you want to talk about command? That's really what he does, and the sequencing, and just he's not the biggest guy. He doesn't have the best stuff. I mean, throws 95. Let's say like that's I'm not throwing 95. And it's still really impressive, but he's not Chase Burns stuff. But he carries himself like that, and he pitches with that confidence and that intelligence, and he is one of the best pitchers at pitching that I've seen recently.
All right, I'll jump in here and take you to the position player superstar. Where are we at on Elly De La Cruz? It looks like if you go in the past, 2 weeks or so, he's picked up the pop, and now all of the rate stats are actually at a career high for him. So he is taking the next step. Is he, 150 OPS plus guy? Not yet, but he's also super young. And I mean, when you add up everything he's doing, he's at superstar status, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't put anything past him. Like I don't know that there's anything on the baseball field that he can't do. I mean, I was talking to somebody and they're like, man, I'd love to see him on the mound, after a 99-mile-an-hour relay throw on the dot. It's one of those things, like, I still remember the day that I first heard his name. I had someone call me and just say, hey, someone of the Reds told me they found their Tatis. And then we were like, whoa. He's like, yeah, they think that's a little hyperbolic, but this kid could be really good. And, like, you kept hearing these things about, what he could be. And at the end, you just said, okay, forget all that. we don't care about the ceiling, we care about the floor, because the ceiling just doesn't exist. And it just doesn't. It's like the ceiling at Great American Ballpark. There is none. And it could just keep going up. And so, yeah, this kid just keeps getting better. And he's a competitor, and he is a really smart person. And I think that's a big part of his success, and why they think that he can get even better is because of the intelligence and maturity that he has at a very young age.
Hey, having guys like Elly De La Cruz, having guys at the helm like Tito Francona, you talk about the confidence, and I think that is, and I think a lot of people would agree that is Tito's superpower. But I think at right now, 2 games now over 500, this team is still young, still very much in the mix when you look at the NL Central. What are you hearing as far as moves, as far as trade deadline? Because they're still not quite there. There's still a few pieces that need to be had. What is the how high is the confidence level that they're going to, be buyers and not sellers and go out and really try to make a push for this NL Central?
I think they will be buyers, but I don't know if they're going to make big splashes. It'll probably be more on the margins. But because you need, they do not hit left-handers well. The outfield has been inconsistent, other than TJ Friedl. If you want to talk about underrated guys, TJ Friedel's having a heck of a season. And when he is healthy, like he was 2 years ago and this year, he is a great tone setter at the top of the lineup. But their corner outfields, they just haven't quite found it. They're hoping that Austin Hayes coming back is part of that. You've seen Matt McClain kind of turn it around after struggling early. Noelvi Marte. But you're counting on. Here's the thing: is I think they're counting on those guys coming back and being healthy, but Noelvi Marte's track record is up and down. Austin Hayes has been on the IL 3 times already this year. When he's been on the field, he's been great. But if you're counting on that, that's, you always hear about, oh, we're counting on who's going to return. I just don't know if you can count on those guys, because you haven't been able to.
There's a chance they could be sellers if you're really being realistic about the roster. Is what I mean. I don't want to insinuate, but when that answer makes
I think they
feel
could
like
do something. I think they could do something where they take from one of their strengths and address one of their weaknesses. One of those kind of deals. But those are tougher to do at this time, and we shall see. It'll be interesting. I think they are going to add and try to make a run at this division, because you can. I mean, the Cubs are really good. The Cubs are maybe the best lineup in baseball, but you still have questions about them and their rotation. So I think there's a shot, and I think this is the time that they want to go for it and get better. Now we'll see how much they're willing to pay.
That was my question. How much are they willing to pay? And is this roster, as it's constructed now, good enough to make the postseason? Because here's the problem with the National League. They're in the National League, right? Dodgers are going to be in.
Mm-hmm.
Phillies, Mets are probably going to be in. The division winner of the Central is probably going to be in. That's probably going to be the Cubs. Giants, Padres, one of them is probably going to be in. There's 5. You got 1 spot left for Braves. I can't count them in, but a Brewers, a Diamondbacks, a Padres, right? A Reds. There's a lot of people that are fighting.
Cardinals just took 2 or 3.
Cardinals are another one. You can throw them in there too, right? So there's like 5, 6 teams. Yeah. And then if you get in, oh boy, look who I got. I might have to play the Phillies in the first round, or the Mets, or Cubs, or wow.
I'll say the Phillies or Mets are going, ooh, do I want to face Hunter Green and Andrew Abbott?
True.
Like I like the Reds in a series, especially a short series, if their pitching is lined up, because if Hunter Green is back, and then Andrew Abbott, Lodolo, maybe Chase Burns, maybe Rhett Lauder, maybe Nick Martinez, Brady Singer. I mean, we're talking Brady Singer as your 4 or 5. That's pretty good, So I like the Reds pitching, and I really like them in a short series with that pitching. However, getting there might be tougher than advancing.
All right, I got to ask you this. Did the Reds win the Brady Singer, Jonathan India trade? Did they win it? Because India's not having a great year, and Singer's doing what he always does, which is pitch every fifth day, give you innings, give you quality innings. Yeah, he's not going to be a 1.8 ERA guy, but he's going to be high threes, low fours, and give you quality innings, give you a chance to win every time out. Did they win that swap of former Gator teammates?
I think both teams got what they wanted. And Indy hasn't really hit yet, but I think there's some other impact that he's made. I would say right now, if you're just looking at the on-field stuff, yeah, Singer is probably ahead in WAR and all that. But I think both teams, it was just one of those trades that made so much sense for both sides, and I don't know that either is regretting it right now. So I don't know that there has to be a winner and loser. I think maybe both teams won.
I
But I'm
got
high
a
on
loser.
India because
There you go. Okay. Well, and also still, yeah, let's give it a little more time. Here's one where I feel like we've had enough time. I remember talking to you soon after the Jeimer Candelario signing, and we were like, huh? And I guess it helped a little bit when we saw that Noelvi Marte was popped for roids, although it sounded like they didn't know about that until it happened. So again, I
they
was like,
didn't.
huh? Okay, so they didn't know. And he now in back-to-back years is below replacement level, right? And if you're going on wins above replacement, which is a very popular metric for front offices. So how much of a bust has that signing been? And do you think there's a chance that as he's returning here, if he keeps showing kind of nothing with the bat and he's not a helpful guy on defense, that they could cut him?
I think it's possible. I kind of wondered, he's returning from a rehab assignment today. He played his 20 games, and they had to activate him, and they didn't show much urgency to get him to St. Louis, and just said meet us in Cincinnati. And I'm not sure exactly where he's going to play, uh, especially with Marte on the way back, and it's Spencer Steer is his bat, I think, is coming around, and he's turned out to be a pretty good defensive first baseman. Santiago Espinal is a guy that you could kind of put in everywhere, and I think maybe he's best served as more of a bench guy. But you still have Christian Encarnacion Strand, and then Marte coming back. I've never understood, and Nick Kroll is very good explaining his thought process. And I've talked to Nick a lot of times and kind of gone and at least seen where they were coming from. I still don't get the Jeimer Candelario signing, and sadly, it's turned out to be not a good one.
Yeah. Hey, we point out when we're wrong, but I'm going to point out when we're right. And our show was hitting that one pretty hard, just like you. And AJ, I know it's only 91 plate appearances, but for example, this season, his OPS plus 100s league average is 11 in about a fifth of a season's of plate appearances. So it's not working for him anymore. Anyway, what do you got? Last one.
All right, before we let you go, Trent, I got to ask you, over your shoulder, you have Terry Francona's book.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have to read that
Yes.
before the Reds hired him, or before you could get your first interview with him? And then when you did finally get to know him, did he sign it for you?
He did not sign it for me, and I bought it right after they hired him just to read up and do my homework, because that's kind of what we did at Georgia. We actually read and do our homework.
Oh, so it's a picture book. It's a picture book is what you're saying. Has a lot of pictures, a lot of illustrations. You're like, oh, that's funny. Bing, pang, pow, like in Batman. Oh, I get it. Now I get it.
Splat, bang.
I would enjoy that,
Yes.
actually. A Tito picture book?
It'd probably be
Chicken
pretty
and beer?
good.
Yeah, the chicken and beer chapter would be awesome.
Hey everybody, be sure to like and subscribe for more content.
We're back here every weekday, all year long, so do not miss an episode.
The videos are coming in all day. Here's another video you might enjoy.
Baseball the way it should be covered.